I was just asking about the soldiers who signed the letter, the 130 soldiers that signed a letter to say that they perhaps might in the future stop reporting for duty if the situation continues as it is. Do you believe that this could be the start of something?
Yes, actually, this is the first time that the soldiers themselves they signed this letter. We witnessed a couple of demonstrations from the business sector, banking sector, insurance company, even the employee work in the airports, and the Hested route they call for and a strike. They were recently, but like involved soldiers, this is a very a strong message that there's a lot of disagreement, there's a lot of oppositions against Netanyahu's policy, mainly because the Israeli army, I think, is suffering from like fatigue, suffering from physical pressures. They've been in combat, they've been fighting over 1 year now. And I think there's kind of, awareness that this war being conducted by the politician at the expense of the soldiers, at the expense of the army, and without a clear strategy, without a clear aims. And it's been a loosey aims and objective for this war. And that's why Biden, if what's being leaked in the media yesterday, was so upset with Netanyahu and accused him of driving Israel in a without any strategy. So yes, that's I think it's the snow is going to be like a snowballing will take place, and I think more people will join, and I'm sure that's what happened like in 2006, when a lot of mothers, a lot of soldiers signed a letter to Ehud Barak at that time, asking him to withdraw from Lebanon. And that's kind of, public opinion pressures a huge influence in Israel. I'm sure there's thousands of people demonstrating in the streets on a daily basis, asking for Netanyahu to sign a deal with Hamas to release the prisoners, but Hamas, Netanyahu is turning a blind eye on these kind of demonstrations and ignoring that, because he has a personal interest to keep the war. He has a personal interest in ignoring all these voices. But I think in the end of the day, with the military pressures, with the economic deficit, with the lack of budget, with the also if the number of casualties, the number of soldiers in the Israeli army being killed in the Lebanese front, that will put more pressures on Netanyahu to accept the ceasefire and go for negotiations.
And staying with you, Professor, what impact do you think that these statements from the soldiers might have on the morale, perhaps, of other military personnel? And how widespread do you think these views might be?
Do you mean how Netanyahu will respond to that letter?
No, I meant the other military personnel, the soldiers, the command. Do you think that it will have any impact? And do you think those kind of views are particularly widespread?
Yes, I think that will be. Not like in the short term, because if the Israeli army suffer casualties and people being killed during the war in Lebanon, I think the number of people who joined that 130 people will be more. I think not in the short term, because a lot of people in media, they are not happy with this letter, saying that you are giving up on Israel in the difficult time. And I've seen a lot of people saying that these soldiers, they are betraying their country, because it's not the right time to sign this kind of letter, because Israel is in a crisis. They are Israel fighting in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Gaza, in Ramallah, in Syria. So there's kind of existing crisis for Israel. So So we don't know, if that's the right time, according to this public opinion, is the right time for the Israeli soldiers to sign the agreement or to sign this paper. Uh, I think, yes, in the futures will be more, but not on the long term. As soon the war will stop, as soon the next day of the war, I think they will see a lot of conflicts within the Israeli society, within the between the Israeli politicians and the Israeli military personnel. So we are, a lot of people just waiting for the war to stop, to start questioning, like investigations, start investigations about what happened the 7th of October and the impact of the war in the Israeli society in economic term, in the cultural, also in the ethnic way. So there's a lot of questions that has to be answered in the next day of the war.
Oh, thank you, Professor. We're going to go back to Professor Diab for a moment. Professor Abu El-Ezz just mentioned there that President Biden in the United States has private views that keep mysteriously getting leaked and briefed out to the press, which is obviously deliberate. Professor Diab, what do you make of that?
I think the United States and the Biden administration now is in the time of of weakness. This is the time of weakness of this administration, and I think they are going with Israel in all the levels. And I think we didn't remember any of the American administrations before showed these weaknesses like Biden administration in the last year. In the last year, but if we go about the soldiers list. Let me say just two things. The first one, that these parents and these families and these soldiers realized that the war in Gaza is not Israeli war, it's Netanyahu war. It means that when Netanyahu entered and attacked Rafah at that time, they realized that it's not their war, not Israeli war, not for the interest of the Israeli future. It's the war of Netanyahu and his future. For these reasons, they make connection, they connect between the political reasons of Netanyahu of this war and the main interests of the Israeli state. Another point, very important, I think the reject of going to service in the Israeli military in Gaza will be more than other war in other places, including Lebanon, out of the situation of the Israeli hostages who are in Gaza Strip till now. And I think this connection between to make everything to let these hostages to go back to their homes, and the let us say the what they need from this war, and the connection with Netanyahu ambition to be to go forward to make this war longer and longer for his political reasons. This will let the focus of rejecting the services in Gaza more than other place in Israel.
Okay, and just finally, do you think that the rebellion by the soldiers could lead to a re-evaluation of policy, of strategy. Will it change anything?
I think it will change, but it's not a revolution. It means that it's a one part of the this resistance, this demonstrations that to say that it's not what we need, what we want. But we have to remember that this demonstration also and reject from the soldiers started before the 7th of October, when we call it the changes in the big demonstrations to change the judge Israel. And there were a lot of demonstrations. Between these demonstrations, also soldiers who reject to serve out of this kind of decisions in the government.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for being on the program, both of you, Professor Diab and Professor Abu El-Ezz. It's been a fascinating discussion. Thank you very much for your input and for being on the program.